Welcome to Spaghettimoon's Polygon modelling within Wings3d. The aim of this tutorial is to teach general basics of polygon modelling within Wings3d. After watching this tutorial a few times, you should be comfortable enough to start creating your own 3D models within Wings, and you've got the added bonus of being able to carry the skills over into other software packages. Okay, remember to make sure your mouse is set up correctly for middle mouse button emulation if you haven't got a middle mouse button. Edit, Preferences, Camera, and this rollout over here. We're going to be modelling a cup in this tutorial. A cup is a fairly ordinary object, but there's more to it than meets the eye, so we can cram in as many aspects and functions of polygon modelling as we can and then apply them to this model. Okay, we're going to start off with a primitive cylinder, so right mouse button and then click on cylinder. You can, if you click on this little box here, you can choose how many segments or sections your cylinder has. The default will be fine for what we're going to do, so just click OK. And now our cylinder is ready to model. The first thing we need to actually do is make our cup hollow so it can contain the liquid. So go into face select mode, and if you've got anything selected already, press space to deselect it. Select the top cap of our cylinder. We're going to use a tool called inset. We went into that in the last tutorial, and it's very good for making hollow extrusions for maybe a gun barrel, or perfect for creating the hollow of a cup. So right mouse click and then left click to select insert. 10-15% is fine. There we go, 15%. You can now see we've got the basis of for our lip for our cup. We're going to use the extrude tool to create the hollow in a cup, but it'll be a bit hard to judge from here, so we'll line up the view with the x-axis quickly by pressing X. And I'll also introduce you quickly to a type of view called orthogonal view. This makes the view 2D, which is very useful when lining things up or getting symmetrical geometry. So you can click it here, and you'll notice our view becomes a lot flatter, because it basically makes the view 2D, which is, as I've already said, very useful for modelling. Right, you should still have the face selected, so right mouse button click and select extrude. Normal, no need to select the region as it's only one face right now. When you select normal to extrude along the face as normal, a normal is a line that dictates which way a polygonal face actually faces. We'll go into more detail on normals in another tutorial, but it's best just think of it as a straight line facing directly out of the polygon. So move your mouse left until it pops out the bottom. That's too far, so we just want to move it up and use your own judgment on where to put it. As long as it isn't popping out the bottom, we'd see that because we're in orthogonal view. That'll be fine. So you can right click and cancel the operation and start again. To get out of orthogonal view, you can press your button or press O, and just middle mouse button to rotate around and see the hollow that you've made. It's very important to keep your geometry symmetrical to avoid artifacts on your final object. An artifact is a discrepancy or an imperfection in the surface of your object, usually created when an object isn't optimized for subdivision. The resulting surfaces can be sometimes triangulated and a bit bumpy. We're going to add the handle now and clean up the geometry ready for some smoothing. So let's go into edge mode, deselect everything with spacebar. Click and drag to select all of the vertical edges, sorry. And we should just have a quick check to make sure we haven't accidentally selected any edges you don't want. That looks looking okay. So instead of fiddling around with loads of vertices one at a time, using a connect function in a situation like this can be very handy. By pressing C, we can create one loop through our selected edges like this. Just like that. But we need probably a bit more than just the one loop. So there's another way to do it. We'll just Control Z to go back. So instead of pressing C, press 3, which will create sets of vertices, 2 sets of vertices. If you wanted to create 3 sets of vertices, press 4, and so on and so forth. Now the loops aren't created instantly, so you have to press C again to actually connect the vertices, and you see we've been transported into vertex mode, which makes it a lot easier, so we don't have to go around selecting the vertices all over again. So press C to connect them, and you can see we've got a nice couple of loops around there. Remember, the reason why we connect all of this is to retain consistency within our model. Okay, so go into face mode, and you can see deselect the space, and select a face here and a face here, and those are going to be the bases for our handles on the cup. So extrude, and then extrude again. That's right click, left select, normal. And what we want to do here is make this in a kind of pincer position, because they're going to meet up eventually, but we want to sculpt it a bit so it'll end up much more curved. So move, right click, and then left click move, and then select Y. Move that down a bit. Do the same with that one, but move it up instead. And I think one more extrude will probably do. And we'll do the same with that. Oops. Oh dear, accidentally mirrored it. Okay, now select the two adjacent faces of the last extrude that you did. We're going to connect these two faces. We're going to use something called bridging. So it's a fairly simple operation. Just once you've got your faces selected, right click and then left click bridge, and you can see that our handle is now whole and we've bridged together those two faces. The handle's looking a bit chunky at the moment, so let's refine it a bit. Select each two in turn of the adjacent faces closest to the body of our cup and move them so the handle isn't so blocky. Let's thin it out a bit. So I'll move them in the y-axis just like we did before. There we go. You can select the bottom faces and move them up a bit if you like to make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing. There we go, that's a bit better. I suppose we could move those down a bit, scale the width of the handle. So I think scaling width of the handle probably a better idea if we use faces instead of edges. A good idea to, when you're working with geometry like that, you might need to scale along an axis that isn't relevant to your world coordinates, like it wouldn't be the ultimate Z or X axis. So instead of left clicking, right click, and you see they turn a lighter colour. If you click with your left mouse button, and you'll see an arrow appear, do it on adjacent faces like that, and then right click, and you can see it's actually scaling along the axis as you defined just then. It's a pretty useful tool. We might want to do that with that face as well. So that's right click instead of left click, right click, define the axis, and then thin out whatever you need to do or scale it. Do any more tweaking that you feel necessary, and you should have a good first pass for the handle. Now, as I said earlier, if we smoothed out our model now, we'd end up with a rather nasty base and cut bottom. We need to fix the geometry so when it's smooth there won't be any noticeable disruption of the surface. I'll just show you quickly what that would look like. It's pretty nasty. See, it looks okay until you get here and you've got this horrible triangulated face that's kind of got a bit warped. So that's no good at all. Oh, it looks like I've accidentally scaled another face because I didn't check it. So we'll just step back. Yeah, we did it there. I accidentally selected that face. So fairly easy, just do the same thing again. There we go. The stepping back tools are very useful, very helpful, because in a lot of programs it will actually preserve what you selected so you can find the root of your problem. See, that's fine now. Okay, let's deal with our cap ends. Well, they're not really cap ends anymore, it's the cup bottom and the bottom of the cup. So select the bottom and also the cup bottom, because we can do these both at the same time and save some time. So we're going to inset them like we did in the last tutorial, but this is a more practical application of it. Inset, and do that once or twice evenly, and do it one more time, and then we're going to use something called the collapse command. The that's very useful for getting rid of unwanted faces. So I'll show you what that does. Once you've got your face selected, right click and then select collapse around here, and you can see that although it has created some triangles, the geometry is symmetrical, and any discrepancies that are going to be caused by those triangles when we subdivide won't actually be seen because they're right on the bottom of the cups. So if you're going to have to cap things off like that and create a pinched effect, you should really try and do it when it's out of sight. We didn't. Yep, that's all. That's okay. Sometimes triangulated polys like this are pretty much unavoidable, but as I said, since they're going to be on the underside of the object, they won't be noticeable. So we can see that we've now, instead of having to repeat the process, we've actually done both. And we've pretty much got the end product. You might want to bevel the base so it will retain a harder edge, so we can do that with the edge tool. So, but actually I think we should start with the cup lip. So select that and press L. This is a useful little command. L, and it actually selects the edge loops themselves. So we'll bevel those a bit to make the lip. We want to make these bevels fairly wide because cup lips tend to be very smooth. And with the base, L again to select the edge loop for just a little bevel because we want it to be fairly hard. And there we go, we've got the basic cup, and if we wanted to smooth it out we can see what it looks like. Handle could probably still use a bit of tweaking, but it's not so bad. Let's tell you how many polygons and how many edges and vertices when you go into edge mode. That's not so bad. I hope this tutorial has been helpful and shown you some of the basic ways of modelling with polygons and the ways they can be applied to create a more complex object out of a primitive. Thanks for watching.